Good evening, everyone. Apologies for the late start. Welcome to the Community Commission for Public Safety and Accountability's first public hearing in our process to select a new Chief Administrator for the Civilian Office of Police Accountability, or known as COPA. Can people online hear me? Before we begin, we'd like to provide a brief overview of COPA's function, responsibilities, and jurisdiction. This information can also be found on the informational documents that were provided to you as you walked into the hearing today. By ordinance, COPA's mission is to provide a just and efficient means to fairly and timely conduct investigation within its jurisdiction, including investigations of alleged police misconduct, and to determine whether those allegations are well-founded, applying a preponderance of the evidence standard to identify and address patterns of police misconduct, and based on information obtained through such investigations, to make policy recommendations to improve the Chicago Police Department and reduce incidents of police misconduct. The chief administrator serves a 4-year term and is responsible for leading the office in a way that is in alignment with its mission. COPA performs two key police oversight responsibilities. COPA receives and registers all complaints filed against members of the Chicago Police Department, and it investigates allegations of police misconduct by members of the police department, including both sworn and civilian employees. COPA's ordinance lists all the allegations COPA has the jurisdiction to investigate, including all incidents where a CPD member discharges a firearm, all incidents where a person dies or sustains a serious bodily injury while in custody or because of police action, and instances of domestic violence, excessive force, improper search or seizure, sexual misconduct, and verbal abuse. All complaints that COPA receives that don't fall under these categories and the others defined are referred to the Bureau of Internal Affairs, the Office of Inspector General, or other federal or local enforcement agencies. For the record, Vice President Terry is here.
Yes, please pardon my tardiness. Thank you all for being here this evening. I will continue sharing information about tonight's meeting. On February 13th of this year, the Chief Administrator of COPA announced her resignation, effective on February 28th. The mayor will choose an interim replacement, and the commission is responsible for identifying and selecting a permanent replacement. That selection must be confirmed by City Council. By ordinance, the chief administrator must have following minimum qualifications: an attorney with a substantial experience in criminal, civil rights, and/or labor law, or corporate and/or governmental investigations, or an individual with substantial experience in law enforcement oversight or investigating employee or other wrongdoing. Knowledge of law enforcement, particularly of internal investigations of wrongdoing and use of force, a commitment to and knowledge of the need for and responsibilities of law enforcement, as well as the need to protect basic constitutional rights of all affected parties. Demonstrated integrity, professionalism, sound judgment, and leadership, and the ability to work with diverse groups and individuals. The chief administrator cannot be a current or former sworn employee of CPD, a non-sworn employee of the police department within the last 5 years, or an employee of the Cook County State's Attorney's Office within the last 5 years. In addition to the minimum qualifications listed above, the commission can also take other qualities into consideration during its selection process, which is why we are having our hearing today. The commission has committed to receiving substantial public feedback prior to considering candidates to ensure that feedback informs the selection process. To ensure that we are getting uniform feedback from across the city, the format of the hearing today will be a bit different from public hearings that we've previously held. When you come up to the microphone today, we are asking that in your comments, you answer the following 3 questions, which you received when you walked in this evening, and also is provided on the screen behind us. And those questions are, in your opinion, what are the qualities the community would like to see in a new chief administrator? What priorities should be the focus of the new chief administrator? And then the last prompt is to let us know any other considerations for how commissioners should assess candidates for the position. We have allotted 3 minutes per speaker and to respond to all the prompts. We will be recording your responses and using your feedback as we finalize the criteria we will be using to select a new COPA chief. If you don't have an opportunity to speak tonight, or if you want to reconsider speaking this evening, we still would like to hear from you. You can submit your feedback by filling out our survey that is located on our website. You can link to it through the QR code that is on the handout that you received. With that being said, I'll turn it over to Commissioner Navarrijo to announce the first speaker.
The first speaker that I have listed here is Sumi Song. I hope I said that correctly.
The next speaker we have is Grace Patino.
Hi. Okay. So qualities, someone who has a track record of, it's kind of hard I don't know how you assess this on a resume, but someone who has a track record of, not being afraid to like go against the grain, someone who is not, who has shown in some way or another, an ability to stand up, um, to, I don't know who, but, someone who's not going to be easily swayed or pushed around, by, political demands. I would say, someone with a history of strong, research skills. Someone with a trauma-informed background, and I did really like that about the last chief administrator, her background in, like criminal sexual assault advocacy. And I also think, so it sounds like you just can't have worked for CPD within the last 5 years, but if you were like a 10-year employee, like, are you able to? So, I mean, I think that there would be a really problematic bias with asking a retired police officer to investigate police misconduct. And just as like a citizen of Chicago, I would also feel similarly concerned about a former state's attorney having that position. Especially in Chicago, like we do have state's attorneys that have taken torture survivor confessions, from like John Burge's Midnight Crew and whatnot. So that would be really concerning to me. What priorities should be the focus? I think issues, well, I mean, it's the cases that COPA sees already, but any issues of like sexual assault cases, I think are still like a big issue. I think that it's not in their purview yet, but I would think investigation of officers with who have like joined hate groups. And then like, yeah, these murders. I mean, it's what's already assigned for COPA to look into, I think. And then consideration for how the commission should assess the candidate. That's hard. Well, I guess asking if these candidates have any experience in like bias trainings would be good, I think. What their experience is in dealing with populations that have experienced trauma or cases of people who have experienced trauma. That's it.
Next speaker, Beth Rockford.
Hi, thank you for coming to the 17th district and having this event. So I am one of the police district counselors here in 17. And though these questions weren't exactly how I was thinking about it, I'm going to try and put what I had previously thought I would say into answering these questions. So what qualities would I like in a chief administrator? Obviously someone who is a good listener and has some good administrative skills. But most importantly, I want somebody who's tenacious. I don't want anybody who is biased, but I would like someone who is distrustful of authority, because that's what my constituents are distrustful of the police department. And somebody who, as Grace was saying, has the ability to stand up to pressure and, you know, has demonstrated that that they are willing to look at the facts, but you know, do their job. And even if the facts are things that some people won't like, that's what we need them to be able to reveal to the community. For priorities, I know there's been an issue with not in the past, not having as much pattern and practice investigations. So I want that to be something that they definitely are experienced in and work towards. Obviously, we have set up goals for them for the year. I want them to be open to accepting those goals that were set for the previous administrator and working to make sure that those are things that we, you know, are the mission of COPA for this year. And one of those being the dedication to community police mediation. I think that's something that the district counselors are trying to work with COPA on. And, you know, we want there to be ways outside of the traditional discipline process that has been in the past. And we want there to be the ability for people to sit down and talk out some of the low level complaints and have an officer hear, you know, what the community has to say about what happened. So that's one of the goals that I think we need to make sure that that is, you know, continues to go forward. Yeah, and I don't think I have anything else. So thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Patrick McNeil.
Thank you so much for allowing me to make a comment tonight. You know, I don't know as much about COPA as a lot of you do who have a more deep background with the agency and the other agencies that are involved in police oversight. I can only say what my impression is just a member of the public. And so what qualities do you want? You want the chief administrator to be professional, have the utmost integrity, and to be completely unbiased. And why is that? I think as a member of the public, COPA has lost public confidence. And here's why. We all know about the incident involving Dexter Reed, the young man who shot at the police, and in response, the police shot back. Well, Andrea Kirsten went on television shortly thereafter, and when she was asked about it, here's the answer that she should have given. We are just starting our investigation, so it'd be premature for me to comment on that. As soon as we're done finding all the facts, I will share my findings with you. Instead, she went on television and immediately started speculating and criticizing the police for possibly having acted inappropriately. And so everyone saw that and said, this is not an unbiased investigation. This is an agency that's just out to get the police. Okay? So the priority should be finding someone who will restore public confidence to say this person is coming at every case as a completely unbiased investigator. Now, and you also ask, are there any other considerations? You do need someone who's a good manager. I mean, I don't know what's going on in COPA, but when I read, there's considerable turmoil among the employees, the staff members with the previous chief administrator. You need to get someone not only has our confidence, but has the confidence of the staff at COPA. So thank you very much for your this opportunity.
Thank you. Is there anyone who possibly has not signed up as of yet that would like to share their thoughts? Do you have anyone online? No. Sure, we have a little bit of time.
Also, just someone who's willing to meet with the community. I did appreciate that about her. She was willing to sit down and have discussions with us. And I think that's really important. And also someone who would be willing to interact with the district counselors as well, because I saw COPA present in the 10th district one time, and I thought that that just showed a good level of professionalism and a good working relationship with the district counselors.
Thank you. Yes, okay.
Hi, sorry, I didn't
Please say
say,
your name for the record.
my name is Patrick Lindley. Last name is spelled L-I-N as in November, D as in Delta, L-E-Y. I think the two things that I would add to what has already been said. First, a quality that I appreciated about the last chief administrator was the amount of transparency and detail that was provided, especially recently in the goal setting. I think directly compared to what we saw from the superintendent and the police board, which were verbal and shared some details of what they were doing. Chief Administrator Kirsten brought slides, specific details, tracked progress against previous goals, kind of shared what they were focusing on, what their priorities were. As has been stated, that transparency needs to be tempered with making sure it's unbiased and the right timing of releasing information, but letting the city know how these investigations are being done, that they're being done professionally, and that we're making progress. And I think that the last piece is, not just keeping up with timely response to the cases and making sure that we're eliminating and avoiding a backlog, but I think some of the work that is being done about their policy and research team to look at the patterns and practices, look at policies in ways that might stem the creation of so many complaints, whether there's changes in policies that might make interactions with the public, might make the job of law enforcement easier for officers, for the public. I think making sure that the candidates are read up, understand those priorities, and can speak to how they will support that work in the future.
Thank you. The one online? Is there one online?
Yeah, we're not set up.
Oh, okay. So I do want to give one more opportunity before we close it out? Yes, Beth. Sure.
Said that, I know the ordinance says that you'll do a nationwide search. And then once the search company presents you with candidates, you will interview at least 10 candidates. Is there any update on where things are at in terms of what that process looks like?
Thank you for that question. So we're still currently in the RFP process, right, to find a search firm to help us with this process and doing the search for the actual candidates. So that's currently where we are. But this process, as you can see, will be similar to our superintendent search process. So right now we are doing these various listening sessions. The one next month will be a virtual listening session, and then we're going to do one on the west side of the city as well as one on the south side of the city. And we're also still planning to do meetings with our various affinity groups. I believe I don't know, you guys weren't in formation at the time, district counselors, but definitely some work around convening district counselors to have a conversation related to this. So all of the different groups is really, we're in our listening phase as we go through the RFP process to find a search firm. Well, since those were all of the comments that we have for this evening, I do want to thank you all again for being here. And for those of you who did not speak tonight, please also remember that you are able to submit a comment in writing. And we also encourage you to tell others about these opportunities. We're on the north side this time, but the virtual one may be more accessible for a lot of people. So please encourage people to participate in that. And please check out our website for the date and registration link as our work continues to find this new chief administrator. And again, thank you all again for coming out.